Well, hi, friends. A little late reading. Welcome to Mary Ann's house. This is my videos podcast. I'm Mary Ann Goldweber, spiritual teacher, professional medium, and owner of a Village Personal and Spiritual Development Center. Coming to you live tonight to talk about our spiritual topic. So it's about the spiritual perspective and how to not be distracted. And that's a lot. So you might even notice that there's more distractions than usual flying at you from all kinds of directions. And we're just trying to keep you centered and focused and peaceful. You know, that's the goal. So when we can have those priorities and that understanding, then we can manifest different things. So the word manifest, as I've said before, means to reveal. And in the middle of all this assumed chaos, things are being revealed. And we couldn't see those things before. So it's revealing old patterns and hidden truths and new opportunities. And all of those things are starting to come into view. And tonight, as we sit under this full moon, there's a lot of shifting in our human world and our own awareness that's bringing us some clarity and energy for action. So tonight, that's what we're going to look at, that from that spiritual perspective, so we can get above the noise and remember our soul's purpose, and to get a clear game plan from our invisible stage crew, holy people, ancestors, and relatives on the other side, who are really trying to help us through this process. So grab your cuppa and your notebook, and let's dig in. So let's take a grounding breath. Thanks for joining me. Take a deep breath in. Blow it out. Yes. So it's all good. So let's start with the astrological stuff that's going on right now. Ghosties are the theme of the night, I'm seeing. So today is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. is the beginning of the full moon. But we always have a 3-day window on either side of it. So tonight is a powerful time. So the full moon is bright. You know, it's got the power of the sun on it. And so it's about bringing things out, taking things from concept into the physical reality. And so this is a great time to put your crystals out and clear them, cleanse them, give them a new intention. It's a wonderful time also to smudge or clear the energy in your space. I know the weather's not great, but you don't have to open the windows for a long time. But letting out those old energies, because the new moon is about manifesting new things in the physical world. So we want to kind of let go and work through that. We're also in this time of winter, okay? Now, the actual winter solstice isn't until December 21st. However, this time of fall, as we wax into winter solstice, is a time of everything going dormant. You know, everything looks like it's dying above ground. But it's not actually dead. It's actually regrouping and resting underground. And it's honing all those energies so that it can come back in the spring. So winter for us is the same thing. It's really a time of rest, reflection, and really creating game plans and things that we want to bring out into the world in the springtime. Now, that doesn't mean we can't do some of those things during the winter, but it's really more of a reflective time of looking back over this last year and, you know, all the things we did, all the things we experienced, giving ourselves credit for the progress that we've made. And it's also about how we could have done things better or differently, and what did we learn from that. And so this is really such a great time to have that reflective process. And then releasing in gratitude. So this is why we have those new moon rituals and the full moon rituals, is to let go of those awarenesses. So I personally like burning things. So I take things outside in my big pot and I write those things down. And then I offer those in gratitude as a giveaway for the the new information and my progress. So I encourage everybody to create those rituals for themselves. I do those things monthly. I also do them daily as needed. So this is part of the classes that I offer. So when we talk about self-care, or we talk about dreams, or we talk about any of the other workshops and classes that I do, having these rituals are part of all of those different classes. And is we're processing these things from this spiritual perspective in this human body. So let's talk about the retrogrades. So we're down to 3 retrogrades, thank the heavens. But all of these retrogrades that are currently happening, which is Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter, okay? And these retrogrades are outer planets which are helping us change things in our world. So if you have your pen and paper there, I'm going to make this real brief. But Neptune retrograde it reveals truth, okay? Which guides intuition, dreams, illusions, spiritual connections, and things like that. So the retrograde meaning it releases the fog. So things are much clearer spiritually during this time. And so you see situations and people more clearly. Your illusions dissolve, which that isn't always pleasant, okay? So illusions dissolve, you see people and things more clearly, and your intuition becomes sharper and harder to ignore. So we've got a really wonderful time right now to utilize all these things. The second one is Uranus. And so Uranus is about revolution, okay? So it's about rules change, freedom, breakthroughs, awakening, and things like that. And when it's retrograde, it's eternal truths that have to shift internally before we can have an external change, okay? So a lot of us are changing, okay? And so this is why we're going to work on these distractions things once I talk about this. So it's about you breaking old patterns, rethinking your limits and boundaries, feeling the urge to live more authentically. Okay, so this is that kind of quickening that you're feeling about being more self-reliant and not complying to some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. So these retrogrades are really powerful. The last one is Jupiter. Okay, so Jupiter is realignment of growth. Okay, so Jupiter is about expansion, it's about blessings, it's about deeper meanings and wisdom. Okay, now wisdom is a fun word, okay, because wisdom comes from applied knowledge. So you get wise not just from knowing it, but from actually applying it and doing it, okay? And so trusting that we have worked through things to a point of having this wisdom. And that's what we're kind of working on. So the retrograde meaning of Jupiter is that you review what's already been growing, okay, in your life. So goals, beliefs, habits, and it's a time to kind of tweak or refine those, all right? And it's a recalibration of your personal path and a leap of growth that is aligned, not scattered, okay? So this is why I really wanted to talk about distractions, okay? So let's go back to the beginning, okay? So I want y'all to stop and say this with me. I am a divine being having a human experience. Okay, so we're divinity incarnate. So we've incarnated into this human life, and a lot of people are awakening to the fact that their life is so much more than what they're experiencing, okay? And this is where the spiritual perspective gives us hope and faith, even when things around us are not necessarily making sense. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So these big shifts that are going on in our world are forcing us to kind of reassess who we are, what we stand for, what we believe, and what we're willing to do. Okay? So my soul came here on a spiritual mission. So when I look at the retrogrades, my natal chart, the things that I know that I've learned from the work that I do in my own life and in the work professionally. I'm a problem solver. I'm a creative person who sees the more spiritual perspective, and I can create solutions very quickly in the human world. And so this is the thing that I pass on to you in teaching and in sessions and in, the guidance from your relatives and ancestors, is not only am I a spiritual being, but I'm here to leave this world better than I found it. I'm here to learn, I'm here to teach, and I'm here to leave it better than I found it. And so we're all taking this simultaneous mission at this time to facilitate the changes that we're seeing in our world. And so how do we avoid, you don't avoid distractions, okay? So we need to prioritize. So I don't subscribe to chaos and drama, okay? Now, there's higher energies, okay? And there's lower energies. And those lower energies can kind of pull you down. So when you have your own spiritual programs, okay, and you have your own tools and self-awareness, and know that you're being divinely guided, you have faith. So the word faith actually means trust without evidence. Okay, so I've come so far in my spiritual journey that I know that everything going on around me has a bigger meaning than just what I might perceive it to be. So when we have all these people and things shifting outside us, there's a lot of chaos and a lot of drama going on. Okay, and so when you have your own focused plan and program, you can rise above because your energy is higher, and you can rise above more objectively over some of the distractions that come to you or the people that are bringing them in your life or in your day and what's going on in the world. So when we have a plan and we're diligently working our own path, okay, we don't have time for nonsense. We don't got time because I've done drama, guys. I've done chaos, okay? It's distracting and you lose track of time. I spent years on a hamster wheel thinking I was going somewhere, okay? Until I got flung off that damn thing and realized I hadn't gone anywhere. And I hadn't learned anything. And I wasn't really evolving in the way that really is more abundant, So that's what we're learning to do. We're learning to recognize those lower energies, but you have to have energy and a plan and be willing to diligently and in a disciplined way of doing it consistently. Okay, so working consistently on priorities. So this is what we're going to sit with in this time of the year. So in the days to come, because like I said, with all these retrogrades going on that are bringing us to these really cool and new awarenesses, it's giving us an opportunity to look at what are my priorities in my life. So let's start with, for example, one of my priorities is to create some systems for myself. Okay, new and different systems for how I operate professionally and in my personal life. And so for me, the thing that is, most important, the priority for me is people, okay? People that are important to me, friends and associates, acquaintances, and building those relationships, okay, and being present with them. All right. So again, that's a priority. So that can then, once I have that understanding that that's what I want, it shows me what is in the way of that or what is distracting me from doing those things. And so that's what we're doing right now. Okay. So we have to have priorities. Also for me, priorities is about simplifying my life, simplifying how much I need financially, physically, emotionally. And so I've been doing a lot of downsizing for myself. Okay. So again, how much do we really have to have? And, and if it's not really growing corn, and then we need to gratefully release those things so that maybe they can go serve someone else. So there's a lot of that prioritizing and really reflecting on, why do I have all this stuff? Where was I in my head when I did that? What did I learn from this? And again, what's really a priority in your life? And if we really want to increase our abundance, then we need to also look at how are we spending our abundance that we're getting every day, And so when you need less, you have more. And so these are the things that we reflect on. So what are your priorities? What are you prioritizing in your life? And again, doing the work I do with the holy people, the ancestors, and the relatives on the other side, they already lived this life, okay? And now they got a completely new perspective on that life from their position now. And so when they come through, it's not just about, bringing you up and shooting the shit with you, okay? It's really about going, okay, I know who I was when I was alive, okay? And I did some things I could have, should have, would have, maybe differently. But what I'm here to do today is to encourage you to not do that, for you to change the way you're doing things. And they can see your journey from a much more objective position, and they're always trying to inspire us. But they can't interfere in your free will. If you're going to continually be distracted and insecure, you can't reveal new things in your life. So this is why we need to work on self-improvement, whether that's spiritually, emotionally, physically. And there are programs and there are systems and there are ways to heal that completely and start to learn to trust that inner knowing that's coming to you, that's really trying to guide you to the next right thing. But if we're distracted and we're insecure and we're filled with fear, it's immobilizing, it's paralyzing, and they can't even help you. Okay. And this is why sometimes you'll have these God moments outside you where perfect strangers will say something that inspires you. So funny story. I actually had a channeling event the other night, and it was amazing because I love channeling events because you're not only hearing your own message, but some people can't really handle me pointing right at them and just telling them stuff. So the universe uses all the people in the room to get everyone a message. Those messages aren't just for you. They're also for me, and they're for anyone else that resonates with. And so that's why I like doing it in a group, because you're not only getting your own message, you're getting 13 other messages or more from other people's ancestors. So I joke about it all the time that I've learned more from your relatives and ancestors than I have in any school, in any book I've ever read, because they're coming from a place of wisdom, lived, earned wisdom, good, bad, and otherwise. And so when they come and they give us this wisdom, it's to help us be better. It's to help us navigate through this life, not in the way they did. But, but we can do that awakening, and now we'll never be as awakened as they are, okay? But when we awaken in this life, and we realize that there's just only so much time, that we don't want to waste it. You don't want to miss an opportunity to be present with people, or take the time to just really enjoy this life and the things that are going on, and connecting yourselves to other people and other situations so that we can all, come together as a collective community to help heal these social things that have happened in our world. The biggest thing that is causing a lot of the dysfunction is the separation, the divisions that we're facing. And that's why when you come to communal events, whether they're here or out in the world, those events have all kinds of really amazing people and wisdom in the room. Excuse me. I'm all froggy today. So again, we're looking at these things from this spiritual perspective. My soul did not come here to suffer. My soul was taught suffering. A lot of the systems that we have in our world are man-made. God didn't create that. The universe did not create that. People did. Okay. And they can be changed. And that's what we're facing right now, is this beautiful, wonderful, huge awakening. And people no longer subscribing to these things. I mean, I'm not going to continue to give that energy. So for me, that's a priority. So when we sit with these things now, it affords us the opportunity to really look at what's really important in our life and not being distracted by all this outside crap and getting focused on moving forward in that direction. And then, it opens up your dream time. You get to hear your inner voice more. That inner knowing that goes, you're doing it, go do it, let's do that. Or the good idea that pops in your head. Those are all divine messages. It's just that we haven't been taught how to really listen because we're so distracted by this physical outside stuff. Now, those distractions are harder for certain signs, astrological signs, which brings me to, I'm having our beginning natal chart astrology class on December 9th. Now, these classes, because it's winter, and a lot of us can't attend in person because of the weather, I'm also doing them hybrid on Zoom. And I have clients all over the country. I've got clients out of the country. And so it gives everybody an opportunity to be able to join into these classes. And they're really reasonable, guys. Sorry, I don't know. I'm all stuffy up today. So anyway, our natal chart astrology class, and you actually get a 10-page professional natal chart report. Okay, it's an actual report. It's very complicated. And so in the beginning class, we go over things like your sun, moon, and rising, all your planetary influences, and the retrogrades that you were born under. And so we just kind of break that out for you. And it's actually very funny. So it gives us a chance to really look at our shadow aspects and our strengths, and then how to get to know ourselves better using our natal chart. So, I mean, I'm a Pisces double Cancer, so I am a idea person. I'm all about spiritual stuff, okay? But the double Cancer is like an engineer. I can take that information and I can turn that into solutions very quickly. And that's one of my talents and strengths. And that's, frankly, the work I've done my whole life. Every career I've ever had was to do that, to inspire, to see things from a different perspective, and to help people find solutions. I've been doing that for the last 40-some years. So again, living our strengths and recognizing our weaknesses. Okay, so one of my shadow aspects is procrastination. Okay, and that's a Pisces thing. Okay, and again, not being able to process emotion. That was something I had to learn how to do. Okay, because that is not an unusual thing for people who are born under the sign of Cancer. Internalize a lot of things, even though they're very empathic. So this is the stuff you'll learn in the natal chart astrology class. So join us. We already have a couple folks registered, so go onto my website, mariannegoldweber.com/events, and we'll talk about, and you can go register for the natal chart astrology class there. So yes, so there's a lot of distractions going on right now, but when you have a plan and you have faith, new things begin to manifest. The minute you shift your perspective and you start getting committed to your own program and plan and priorities, a lot of these distractions just kind of go away because we ain't got no time for that, and not in a bad way. I just don't have time. I used to create drama because it's a distraction. And it's because you want to avoid the things that you actually have control over. And so it can be a slippery slope. And so when you create peace and you get accountable, there ain't no cleanup with that. Truth is freeing, okay? And I got no time for that. And that's what I'm trying to help you guys understand, is that, when you change you as well, when you start getting focused and you stop giving energy to drama and chaos. Now, I have to tell you, if somebody brings drama and chaos in my personal life, now I do not have people who normally do this, okay? We are in enough of a relationship where, we listen, but they also have tools and skills, and they don't create drama either, so again, most of us are out here in jobs with people who are drama mamas and doing those things. But my inner circle, my village is not those folks. Yeah, we don't have time for drama and chaos because it's a distraction and it takes us away from the much bigger, better things that we could be doing, especially collectively as a group. So yeah, so let's see who's here tonight. Oh, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, hi, Angela and Sharon. This is like Miss Barbara's romper room. Hey, Sue. I was just thinking about you today. Hi, Denise and Shay. Sorry, guys, this thing scrolls funny when I'm on it. Jackie and Ron. Hey, Katie. Okay, guys, hold on. For God's sake. And then we got Rudy, of course. And hi, Angela. We have a couple of Angelas on here tonight. Well, hey, Nicole. Oh, hey, Kim. Jackie. Michelle. Sorry, guys. Somebody had a comment. Oh, so Kim said, full moon. Work was crazy today. Right. When you guys work with populations of people, the full moon does affect the tides in our body. So it makes us more excited or anxious or prickly. Okay. So that it gives you energy, but depending on where you're at is how it manifests. So yes, people who are in, those places, yeah, it's a handful. I'm sorry, kids. So those are days you got to eat your Wheaties, guys, before you go to those things. So Shay said, I need to downsize. I need to prioritize my work. Being lazy is not my life goal. Distractions are everywhere. I want more in my inner knowing. Right. So this is the time. The season of winter is about hibernation. It's about everything looking like it's dead. It's kind of like when our relatives, leave us. They are not dead. Just this body dies. They go... they're still in their, they're still here. They're not somewhere else. It's just that you have to look for them in a different way and know that those things are growing and learning underground. They're in a process, and they are trying to help us, but boy, we're hard to help. I have people ask me for help and then go do it their way some more. Okay, well, good luck with that, because the lesson is in our resistance to the new way. And it takes practice. And, people want to hear what they want to hear, but they don't want to hear necessarily always, what the universe really has to say to you, which is, what are you doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, we do. You know what you're doing. But again, we're making choices, conscious choices to either get with the program or keep doing it, get distracted and avoid. Avoidance does not make it better, guys. It only gets more and more painful or worse until it's unavoidable. So this is a wonderful time to really prioritize who and what you are, what you stand for, and are you walking that in your everyday life in some way? And so that's what we're doing, is it's about walking your talk. And you are affecting people. People don't know what to do with you when you start to change and you stop subscribing to that stuff. I've had to say in my lifetime, to people, I cannot continue to have these conversations with you about this drama and chaos that you're choosing. You're just venting, and I've given you my suggestions, my advice, but, if you're not willing to, take that, then we can't talk about that anymore. So we call those taboo topics, okay? And there are some folks that I know that I've had to say, I will not discuss, this with you anymore. So if you want to call me about the weather or new things that you're doing or something else, I'm here. But if you're going to call me about these three things, I'm not your girl. And that's from not only loving myself, but that's loving someone else enough to say that, you're better than that. And I'm not going to continue to enable that because I love you. So that's kind of how this stuff goes, guys. So prioritizing, when you know what you're standing for and you build confidence in those arenas, nobody can push you off of that. It's very hard to push you off of your foundation. but you have to build it, you know? And that's what all the classes and all the things that I do support, is you building your own spiritual programs and game plans in this physical world. Part of what I do is professional development too. So I teach people how to, it's personal and spiritual development, okay? Personal development is like discipline and communication and boundaries and learning how to create interdependent relationships. You know, so that's the personal development stuff. Because again, you know, if nobody taught you, you don't know. And so there's way more effective ways to do that. And when I look at sometimes people's conflicts in their lives has to do with the fact that they're not a good communicator. They're not communicating with themselves, and then they're therefore not being clear with others. And so that's another one of those things that we do in coaching. So if you guys are interested in getting a game plan and getting some wisdom and things like that, just give me a call and schedule some time. So I'm so grateful to you guys. And so this is on repeat, just so you know. You can listen to this. Facebook will delete my live videos after a week. So normally what I do is I upload them to YouTube and to TikTok. So if you guys want to go onto my YouTube channel and subscribe, it's free. I mean, you just got to click subscribe. But you can go there and watch all my previous videos that I do. And I also upload them to TikTok as well. And so if you become my follower on TikTok, then you can see these on repeat. And I have a ton of them, every week I do this. So anywho, anyone else have any other questions or suggestions or, but yeah, just give me a call, guys, 216-324-2657 to schedule some time with yourself. I also do family groups. So if you want to get your family on the same page, okay, it takes a village, and it's nice to hear the same things you would tell them coming from me, and getting everybody on the same page so you guys work as a team. So I do a lot of development that way, not just with individuals, but with groups and professionally as well. So, none of us got great training at this stuff. And my perspective is so unique that it really brings you to a higher awareness so you can see it so much more objectively. In fact, I can't even tell you, I wish I had $1 for every time somebody said, I never looked at it that way. Because my perspective is so unique when you come from this spiritual perspective. I am a divine being, and I picked this life, okay? And every bit of it has made me who I am. And that takes time and practice, guys, okay? So I own it. I own what I've done. I understand why I've experienced the things I have, and it's created tools and wisdom for me to share with you. So, and that's where the compassion comes from. I can't judge you because I've done it. So, that's the best part about it. It's what connects us to each other. And then it just creates that 6 degrees of connection. We're all the same. We like to think we're different. But again, your astrological stuff really makes a difference in how you look at life, how you approach life, how you, motor through life. Every sign is different, and it's hilarious. Okay, so this is why we work together. So anyway, all right, kids, what do we got tonight? Anyone else? Oh, hey, Tammy. Thanks for joining us. All right, kids. I think that's it. Still not happy. What was that? Oh, hold on. Sorry, guys. This scrolling thing, it won't stand still. Wacky Wednesday. Yes, Sharon, it certainly has been. Shay says, I will book a session soon. I'm telling you, Rudy, certain signs, especially the more rigid signs, have a very hard time with changing the time. It messes up our circadian rhythm. All right. And again, I'm very sensitive to time because I'm a Pisces. I already have a hard enough time with time. And then you go and change the damn clock on me. Okay. I finally get my shit together, and 6 months later, they go ahead and change the time on me. So yes, Pisces are not good at that. I don't know what your astrological sign is, but, yeah. So Kim asked, you said interdependent. What's the difference between that and codependency? Okay. Well, that's a cool thing to unpack briefly. So interdependent means you are responsible for you, I am responsible for me, and my talents and skills, and your talents and skills, that when we work together, it's interdependent. We don't depend on each other in that way, in a unhealthy way, for the other person to do things for us that we could do for ourselves. Whereas codependence is part of it is defined, and one way to look at it is that we're looking for someone else to shore up the things that, do things for us. Okay? So it's technically kind of two people mutually using each other to get something back without actually saying that. Okay? So other people don't need me. Okay? We're a complement to each other's lives. Okay? And so when you know who you are, you're not going to settle for less than what is a complement to what you've created for yourself. So this is why independence and interdependence, when you're independent and you're confident, we attract better things. Okay. But when we're codependent, so if you think of codependence like needing someone for something like love or attention or financially, that we're willing to compromise ourselves or someone else to get that from another direction. And so you'd have to kind of look it up for yourself. But that can be very problematic. Some of these things are in degrees. So, we're all kind of codependent. But we don't realize it. So once you understand what those things mean, that's kind of how they work. Oh, right. So Rudy, you're a Virgo. Rudy said he's a Virgo. We're talking about the time change. Virgos have OCD about, detail. Okay. And so when you go and turn the time on them, it messes up all their little things. So, it makes them feel out of sorts because they like order and they like, knowing what's going to happen next kind of thing. And so, so if they don't have, so that would be a very hard thing on someone like you, Rudy, because, that'll mess you up for a while. I know every 6 months it messes me up. Like really, I don't know why we do this, but anywho. So, so I look forward to hearing from you guys. If you have any other questions, just give me a call and schedule some time and we'll go ahead and, we'll set up some time to, get you situated. Okay. Get y'all situated. And once you have your own, focus, like I said, let's go higher. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience and I can choose what I choose to experience. Okay? And that's the spiritual accountability. I can choose what I choose to experience. It's no one's fault and there's no one to blame. But again, what did I learn from that? And all the things that we have done in our ignorance, we should be learning from. And this is what we're doing now, is we're looking into those things. And so, we're looking at, what I learned from that. Where did that come from? How did I get myself in that? And how can I do it better next time? So that's the process. Right. So anybody who, any sign that is kind of, orderly, like Geminis or Capricorns, Virgos, those signs that like order, okay? Or they're in this human, they're very, pragmatic in that way. They're going to have a much harder time with time change. See, as a Pisces, okay, I don't even like time at all, but I'm very fluid when it comes to time. Whereas some of those other, concrete signs have a very hard time with, when somebody comes along and messes up their order, move their little boxes around, So anyway, well, Aries, Nicole declared, that's so cute. Aries. Okay, Aries are leaders. They don't pay attention to a lot of things. They're just always running with scissors, wanting everybody to follow them. So probably not as much. So anyway, and again, Leo's another one of those signs. They're not super, they just want to get there. They push time all the time. So it doesn't really affect them that way. So anywho, all right, kids. Well, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you for following me. If you get anything out of these and you want to just throw a couple bucks on my Venmo or Zelle, go ahead and do that on my website. There's a donate button. And, it just keeps the lights on and everything going here. So I'm so grateful. So schedule some time. Let's get you a game plan and let's invest in yourself. It's an investment. And again, it's not something that you have to do with me all the time. It helps you get a new perspective so that you can kind of run with the ball. So I'm like a coach. So anywho, all right, kids, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Pray for our world. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much. Enjoy your evening. Peace out.